Okay, happy Friendship Day, everybody. Hope you had a great Friendship Day celebration. Friendship is definitely the greatest thing on earth, except in the friend zone. I know it hurts a lot when somebody says, let us be friends. But trust me, for people like me, that used to be an amazing feeling when somebody says, let us be friends. Because for starters, there was nothing in the first place. And most of the times when I proposed someone, they would generally reply back saying, who are you? I have never even seen you. So if someone said, let us be friends, that's a great place to at least start with. So from there, we can start building something, no? So I was always happy when somebody said, let us be friends. And you know what? They say it's important to have at least one friend who understands you like a pharmacist understands a doctor's handwriting. Trust me, that's an outdated statement. As of today, it is better to have a friend who understands you like Amazon, keeps prompting you and pushing you to buy unnecessary things at an expensive price and end up with a loan with a completely unuseful thing, but still for some reason you're happy. Well, so it is important to have a friend who kind of understands that public display of affection means embarrassing you in public and has a collection of all the worst things that you have done. Now, these friends, they will not be able to write even their own resume, but trust me, they will win the Pulitzer's Prize by writing a book on 365 mistakes of my friend, the most darkest, embarrassing, and stupidest moments of my best friend's life. Because they have collected this over a period of time. No, they know all these things. And given every opportunity, they would tell this to everybody in the public. And most importantly, I'll tell you, you should have at least one friend who will convince you that someone somewhere is made for you. And that someone is roll number 36, sitting exactly in the same classroom as you. And constantly keep telling you that I have seen in her eyes the longing for caring, for someone to show her love. And she has constantly been looking at you, that you are that someone who can provide her with that. When you look into her eyes, you clearly realize that her eyes convey that she is more intelligent, hardworking, and much better than you. All that she needs is a little bit of glucose and rest. But still, you trust your friend and think that she needs your love, and the rest is history. A history of most embarrassing disaster that has happened in your life. Well, having said that, still, friends are really important because no matter how embarrassment they have caused us, but still, they are with us all through. Now, I have had some lovely friends. Sorry, I have some lovely friends who lent me money. I never repaid back. On the day I was supposed to repay, I went back asking for more, but still happily have helped me all the times. Friends who have definitely given me a lot of feedback on how to do things better, but someone special who actually sent me this saying, your audio needs improvement. Friends who have constantly been there, who never see, like, share, or subscribe my videos, but still consider and have faith in me that someday I'll make something big. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but anyways, so this is a tribute to all the friends who have filled my life with joy and learning and embarrassment. So I would dare to say that friends are much better than your parents. Don't believe me? Then try going home drunk. And friends, in today's episode, we have somebody super exciting. He is somebody who has been a colleague of mine. He is somebody whom I have seen growing step by step, steadily but really well. And he has been one of the most promising talents in the comedy scene of Bangalore. Please put your hands together and welcome Mindy.
Super. Welcome to another episode of comedians on Zoom getting jalebi. Mandy, so happy to have you. We have been ex-colleagues, and I have seen you grow as a comedian very closely. So it's absolute happiness for me to be talking to you. So how are you doing today, Mandy?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Kishore. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much. Yeah, even I have been following your comedy since Toastmaster days.
Right. Yeah, good. So, mind it, first thing, name itself is quite interesting. Like, I haven't heard of many, any of my Tamil friends, recollecting or saying this name called Mayandi. So, what's the story behind the name?
Nothing much actually. So it's a traditional name, peculiar South Indian Tamil name.
Okay.
Yeah, meaning is like it's a god who protects the village.
Oh, okay. Super. So just tell me a little about your background, Mayandi, like where you come from and what's been life for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I come from this small town called Karaikudi.
Super.
You must, yeah, aware of Chettinad chicken, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is from my place. Yeah, so from Tamil Nadu, which is in southern part of near Madurai.
Right.
Yeah, I did my schooling in Karaikudi till 12th. Yeah, after that I did my engineering in Tiruvannamalai, holy city.
Right.
That's where I did my engineering. After that, completed my engineering in 2007.
Okay.
And after that, I moved to Bangalore, searching for a job. Since then in Bangalore, settled in Bangalore.
Super. So you, like many of us, an engineering student.
Yeah.
So what was your branch of engineering, Mandy?
Electronics and instrumentation.
Super. Good.
Yeah, like when we were, going for admission, they were giving us few branches for suggestion, like electronics and communication,
right.
biotechnology.
Right.
I selected branch based on the donation you have to give for them. So
Oh.
this had
lesser.
Also it sounded new. Those times everyone used to take electronics and electrical and electronics, or electronics communication, or computer. So this one sounded like electronics and instrumentation.
Yes.
So that's why I took this branch.
Right. I remember even my college had instrumentation, and we were the first batch of students which were offered that branch. Anyways, I took mechanical engineering, but one of my very close friends took instrumentation. It was so new to everybody. I remember when we went to write GATE exam in a different city, and we were entering those details, addresses in that ledger book. My friend writes Srinivas BTech instrumentation, and immediately that guy at the counter asks which instruments are flute or guitar. So it was like very less known branch then, but I think after that it has picked up because being mechanical, there was some kind of an overlap with instrumentation. We read all those transducers and all that stuff. So it was quite interesting knowing about that instrumentation branch during those days. Nice. So out of this, how did comedy happen? And mind you, I really wanted to ask this, and I kind of heard this from many of my Tamil friends. For Tamil people, there is an inbuilt, sense of humor. The way friends talk, to the kind of movie references they come up with, to the regular reading of Anand Viktan, or the strong reading habits that they have. I have seen that anybody, when they get into a bus, they purchase a couple of these books and they keep reading throughout. So there is a fundamental culture of humor within the Tamil culture itself. Do you want to talk about it?
So if you take more South Indians, when we talk to our friends, conversation would be, whatever conversation it is, we'll try to add some film tagline to it.
Yeah.
It will be like Vadivelu dialogue or Kaundamani dialogue.
Right.
So that, this, environment is filled with fun. So, yeah, most of them are funny. They don't take life seriously. Most of them is
Right.
what I. Yeah.
Right. Right. Very good. So, like, when was this, itch of being funny or try to crack a joke? Like, what was your first laugh? Do you remember, like, when did you get your first laugh and you felt like, yeah, this was funny?
Yeah. So no, it's like when it's all about my childhood actually. My dad, he's very strict. I can say
Okay.
he's the strictest dad in the town.
Right,
So
right,
yeah. Also, he won't let me go out to play. So even my friends knock the door and request my dad to allow me to play. It will be
right.
very strict.
True,
Yeah.
true, true.
So my childhood life was like strict life. Wake up in the morning, do some prayers. After
Right,
only then you can have your breakfast. After that, go to school. When school hours are done, come back home. That
right,
was the thing. Inside, I was feeling that I need some time to play with friends. Yeah, so these are all in my thoughts. But my family won't allow me to go out. So I used to come up with, like say that I want to go to tuition. That time I'll get time with friends.
right.
Yeah, for cricket they won't allow me to play because they believe that sunlight you'll get dark. Number
Uh,
one. Number two, with the friends you get to learn a lot of bad things from them. So these are the two reasons my parents won't let me go play outdoor sports.
I
So
know.
I preferred elocution competition, essay writing competition. So those were my hobbies. So that's
Right,
attraction towards speaking, attraction towards getting on stage, built within myself, and I was pretty comfortable with mother tongue, Tamil language.
huh.
Yeah, so after that, slowly speaking, along with that, add humor to it. That's how the journey began. Getting a laugh was like when you are with your friends, I would be the object for them to, make fun about. They'll be like, yesterday, in what happened in my auntie's house, his father,
Right,
gave
right,
him.
right.
So initially, I was like feeling ashamed. Later, I was like, I thought, why you should make fun about me? I'll make fun about myself. So you guys think I am not taking myself seriously and laugh along with me.
True,
So that's
true.
a journey towards humor began.
Yes, yes, yes. I totally understand what you're saying, Mandy, because I think we come from very similar backgrounds. Like my father was a regular person, but for some unfortunate reasons, he became a NCC officer. So he got trained in the army, and since then everything suddenly changed. There was too much of discipline at home, and I remember, it all started similarly for me because my friends used to make so much of fun about things at my home. Like there was this joke that every time Kishore has to come out of his house, there will be a register where there will be arrival and departure times that have to be noted. So the moment if it exceeds the given permitted time, then there will be beatings and all of that. So I completely understand. Like in coming from that background, we kind of tend to, once we get an opportunity to express ourselves, we try to make the most of it, I think. So good. That is very interesting. And what I have seen is like you are really passionate about pursuing comedy because though you say that Tamil was something that was more comfortable for you, I have seen you like doing amazing job in English. And the best part is I have seen your video quite a few times, the one that you did in HP in Kannada. Like I can see the kind of effort you have put into in terms of coming up with the Kannada lines and speaking in Kannada. So tell me about it. Like how come you didn't find language to be a barrier, or what made you pursue that?
So I came to Bangalore in the year 2007, looking for a job. My primary industry to get a job was I was trying towards instrumentation because
Right, right, right.
I was comfortable with areas towards instrumentation. So I was searching for jobs, but unfortunately I got only IT job. So yeah, 1 month time I took for instrumentation job, and after that my confidence started coming down. So I thought, okay, let me try for IT job also at the same time. Whichever job I get first, I'll get that job. Yeah, so that was my mind. Unfortunately, I got IT job first. Later, I didn't get instrumentation job. So this first job was I had to work for Karnataka government.
Okay.
IT company, client is Karnataka government. So 3 years we are working in government office. So pakka government job. Like even if you get ready by 9:30 and go there, you have to wait 30 minutes for the door to open. So
Right,
10
right.
o'clock, 10 o'clock your job starts. 5 o'clock sharp they close. So 3 years I was with this environment. So they are not comfortable with English or Tamil. I keep hearing Kannada for 3 years. So I started getting attraction towards the language. Also, I learned the language. When I spoke to them in Kannada, they felt so happy.
Right.
So yeah. So that's how those 3 years they were helping me learn Kannada. So
Right.
I was 3-4 years. I got comfortable with Kannada. So that's how I learned Kannada language. I was. It was roughly 2013, I guess. During 2013, I was working for HP. That time in Facebook, I got one video on my timeline. It's a stand-up comedy video by a now famous comedian called Vipul Goyal.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, he did one comedy about IIM, lifestyle in IIM. So that video was viral that time. That's when I thought, okay, let me do something like this because I'm comfortable doing comedy on stage. That's the first spark I got towards comedy. At the same time, in HP, they had an event coming. So they were inviting people for singing, dance, but comedy was not in the list. So I approached them. Okay, let me do comedy. So they were little hesitant. They said we have only categories called dance, group dance, singing, something like that.
Right.
Comedy is something new. You come up with some 1 minute material, perform in front of us. This is like they are the organizers, some 10
Right.
people. If we really find you funny, if we feel that you have a potential to go to the main stage, in that case, we can take comedy as a category. So I was writing 1 minute and then I performed. So they were like, yeah, I can, yeah, this is funny. I can include you to the main stage. That's how I got the first corporate performance. And my first performance is for 600 audience.
Super.
Yeah. And it went really well. Even my manager came, when I came down from stage, he said, why are you in IT? Quit your job and
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how the journey began. So I was very passionate for comedy from that moment. Okay, I have that video performance recorded, and I was watching it in a row every day. So I was looking for opportunity to perform. So
Right.
So next year for HP they had Kannada Rajyotsava function, and they were expecting singing, dancing. So I approached them. I told that I would like to try comedy. They said, but language is Kannada because this is Kannada Rajyotsava function. I'm
Right.
like, okay, I'll take this challenge because I felt I was comfortable in Kannada. That's how I did a Kannada show for them. Even that was well received.
Right. Very good. Very good. Impressive, Mandy, because normally many of us find that as a barrier and we try to skip it, but taking up those opportunities and delivering them was really, really interesting. One thing is, how do you go about building content, Mandy? Like as a comedian, do you follow certain procedures or is it your observations? Like what is the technique that you use if you would like to share?
Yeah. So I always keep an eye for what is funny happening around me, right? So my the humor which I prefer is observational because um, you know you, I perform something and you relate more to it. You are like, okay, this happened to me in my life. Yeah.
Right. Right.
That case, they become a fan for you. Otherwise, they just laugh at you. That's all. They'll move on. Yeah, jokes are funny. They'll move on. So if you do some observational daily life humor, which is relatable to the audience, they start following you. So they would be like, what my and his take on this? Something really happened. So that's what my topic would be: daily life humor. So
Right.
yeah, right now I'm married. What all humor I can get from everyday marriage life? I become a dad. So what all parenting? Humor is basically like you suffer now. When you take it to stage, it sounds funny.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the style of humor: observational and fun, wordplays.
Workplace.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you talk something with serious thoughts. I would be in my mind thinking what all funny word which I can put there, so the sentence gets a different meaning. So when I get something like that, I'll make a note of it. Either I'll voice record myself or I'll make a note of it, and I try it in open mic when I get solid 5 minutes. So that is my writing procedure.
Super brilliant. Like, which has been one, favorite joke of yours? Like this punchline or this thing was something really good that I have written or delivered.
Uh, yeah. No, it's a tough question. I love all of my jokes, which
Right.
I cannot say that I love this joke of mine.
Right.
As an
Right.
audience, someone tell me, I feel
Yeah.
good about it.
But I heard most of your content, and for me, the best one that cracked me up for a long time was, going to the petrol station with your father, and when the petrol pump guy says, "Sir, look at zero," your father looks at you. That
Yeah,
was killer. Brilliant joke as such. So,
thank you.
mind you, how has been like the support from the comedians or uh, the network or within the comedy group as such? Like, what did you find that has helped you, or what is a point of struggle if you would like to share?
Mm. Yeah. So yeah, initial days it was really tough actually. Initial days I say 2013. So after this HP thing happened, I decided I want to try comedy somehow. Like where all it's happening, what is happening? I started googling it, and then I
Right.
found that in Take by Indira Nagar there is open mics happening every Monday.
Okay.
So who is the point of contact? How to approach them? And I go to YouTube. I was searching stand-up comedy, and I got to know comedian Praveen sir is doing comedy, and he's in Bangalore. He's a comedian, so I thought he's the right guy. Let me approach him. And then I found him on Facebook. I pinged him. I said, "Sir, I found your comedy interesting. Even I would like to try comedy. Where all it's happening? Can you help me?" And he was like, "Yeah, Tech Five Indira Nagar. It's happening every Monday." So I go Friday to check the place, how it is. Would I be comfortable performing there? So silently I go check and I come. Monday I went there. I performed for first time. It was in November 2013. I went there. I performed for first time open mic. They didn't receive the joke. None of my jokes have been received by the audience. I was on stage for 4 or 5 minutes. So that's when I got to know where I stand, right, in comedy. So, and then I realized first thing is jokes are not important. How confident you are on stage handling the crowd. That is completely different from cracking jokes with friends or doing an office setup. So this was completely different. In public show, no one has no idea who you are, and you are trying to grab their attention first, make them listen to your joke, and get the laugh. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, they became your fan, or they come and if they come and say, "Hey, you did a good job," which means okay, you are one step into the comedy scene. So that's how. Yeah, so comedian Praveen sir was very helpful in guiding us for freshers how to get open mics. After open mic is done, I went and pinged him. I said, "Sir, no one listened to my jokes. I feel so bad." And he motivated me, saying that don't worry, no one gets a great laugh in the first open mic ever. But it had great impact on me. I didn't hit the stage for 1 year, next 1 year. November 2013, first open mic, horrible experience. So till 2014, but comedy is in my mind, but I am afraid of hitting the stage because I cannot face that failure. So after that, 2016, I went again. 2013, 2014, 2015, I went again. This was my third open mic there in Take 5 in Ranagar. That time, like 2 minutes of my jokes got good laugh. When I was on stage for 4 minutes, 2 minutes got good laugh, but I don't know how to end it good way. So yeah, so that time competition was a little less. They had only 10 comedians. After that, the scene started picking up, so like 20 comedians, 30 comedians. So giving them a spot has become very difficult. So like we have only 1 hour, 30, 40 comedians to get that spot. So we have to rush to the venue. I was working, and by 4:30, if we didn't go to the venue, we won't get a spot. So those were the days. So that's how we got a spot. We took comedy seriously. We longed for that 5 minutes. No matter how good or bad it goes, I want to vent out what I have within my system, and I'll record it, and I'll know where I went wrong. Okay, so you need to get one comedy buddy. Like, there are a bunch of comedians. You get one comedy buddy who are in same wavelength with you. So he should be a helping hand. Like when you are on stage, he should not hesitate to record your performance. Yeah, so video record your performance and give it to you. So I had one friend there, and yeah, after they know that you're a regular comedian, you keep coming to open mics, they take you seriously, and that's how the network begins. But individually, like without anyone's help, I would say this works the best. Okay, first be confident on stage. Keep writing every day. If you sit to write, and that's not my style. When I sit to write, just taking one topic and thinking about it, nothing comes out. When you observe right in front of you, as something funny is happening, record it on your mobile, write it, keep a journal, write it. So that's how I used to do. I get a lot of thoughts while driving, because I let my mind, take me to any funny extreme, come up with something funny. Yeah, I would be driving, but my mind is thinking about some jokes.
Yes.
When I get something really funny, I'll park my bike to the side, voice recorded.
Right.
That's where I get a lot of good thoughts. And second, during taking a shower, you get a lot of good thoughts.
Right.
Because you let give your mind some topic and let it run. And sure, when you are out of your shower, you will have 3 funny thoughts minimum. So make note of it. When you sit to write, I never got anything funny. Yeah, when watching TV, something funny rhyming word you hear, make a note of it. So that's how I grow it. And network part, even I know I am not a outgoing guy. I'm not so good at making friends. So I have limited friend circle in comedy. But comedian Praveen sir was a lot of help for me. And comedians in Tamil circuit are really good friends. In Bangalore, I have a few friends. They keep updating us about what's happening in the community and what all. So like they'll tell us like, my mindset is like write jokes. I don't have big plans like come up with special in 1 year. If you take big comedians, when the year begins, they'll say that at the end of the year, I'm coming up with 1 hour special. Every 6 months, I keep uploading YouTube videos. So these are all plans they have. I don't have any plans. So from them I get motivation. Like 6 months, keep releasing YouTube videos. Don't rely on others for getting any help. YouTube videos, getting views, you get fans, you get shows. Everything, keep putting content on all social media platform. Whether it is funny or not, keep showing your face to them, so they know that there is a comedian existing. Yeah, be consistent. So these are all the 2 things I learned from them.
Nice. I really can't believe this, Mandy, because for me also, driving is the time when I get maximum jokes. I actually carry a diary, and earlier I used to drive a Royal Enfield, and every time I used to get an idea, it was difficult to stop the vehicle and write it down. So in fact, now I drive a Honda Dio, and in my dicky there will be a diary, and as soon as I get an idea, I kind of stop and I keep writing down. So I think that was something that really connected me. And in fact, what my experience has been was very similar. First, I think I went 3 times to Urban Solace, which was the most happening place way back. And I performed, and Praveen Kumar has been the greatest support for me in stand-up comedy till date. And so when I performed in Urban Solace, the response was okay. And more than that, the thing was like the crowd, you can see that is not enjoying you. That kind of hits your morale so much. I remember the 3rd time and the last time I went to this open mic, There was this girl, probably she was in her 9th standard or something, because she was in her school dress and she is smoking, and she is looking at me like, what the hell is this guy talking, and just why don't you get off the stage? That picture, I tell you, I carry till today. I just never went back to Urban Solace, at least as a performer as such. But I think that is one kind of obstacle. People should come over, perform in as many open mics as possible, if they really are serious about comedy as such. So great. So among all of this, from writing content perspective or other things, have you ever felt like, I mean, I constantly see this feeling myself, that we see a lot of this foreign content. We see people like Russell Peters or Jerry Seinfeld, to Dave Chappelle, to everybody, and that is how we imagine, like, we should be performing and we should be doing. Audience appreciates the same way, but then the moment we start performing, we see so many constraints that people don't treat comedy the same way that it is treated in foreign countries, and people get offended too fast. There is too much of political correctness, all of these things. Have you ever felt that as a challenge for a comedian?
Yeah. So my style of comedy is everyday, like daily life. Yeah, mostly targeting IT lifestyle.
Right.
So after being in comedy, I understood. First initial stage where like, if some famous comedian notices, I may get some 10 minutes to perform, 5 minutes to perform along with them. This was the mindset initially. So after being in the scene, after understanding what material works, so we get familiarized and we get our voice found. Okay, this style of comedy works for me, and this is what I'm comfortable with. So I understood. I cannot talk about anything political and confidently overcome. So that's not my style. So I'm not. So I'm excluding political. Film industry people, you can make some one or two punchlines in a way none of them gets offended. So that's the extreme I may go. Or else my material stick mostly to family life. Dad, son, husband, wife, IT employee, boss, South Indian language, accent, lifestyle in Bangalore. So parenting. So like this is what the daily life people can relate to. So I never, came across any controversies. Once, I did a, um, I did a set on Rowdy Baby. Why Rowdy Baby become a hit song? So there I'm trying to mock fun about Dhanush, actor Dhanush. So some people felt, comedy is is in a growing stage in Tamil Nadu right now. So they would be like, if I talk about Dhanush, they would be like, what you have achieved to talk about Dhanush? Compare your achievement with his. How can you talk about him? So they won't see joke as I have no personal grudge against actor Dhanush or anything. So I find something funny in that song. Okay, so I thought, okay, I'm relating how Rowdy Baby song affected my life. What all funny I found there. That's what I'm talking about it. But audience perceive it like I have some personal grudge towards Dhanush or any competitive actors. So, but people now slowly started understanding. Okay, these guys are just trying to make fun, not are doing anything against the actors. So that understanding is growing slowly. So that's why I don't stick to any controversial topics. I keep myself to the daily life comedian, relatable, observational humor, wordplays. So those are all my strengths. That's what I stick to. Yeah.
That's really interesting to know, and that is a very good trait that is coming. And I think people should be a little more generous towards comedians also, because every time, even when I perform in other places and other things, what I see is people comparing us with like really huge comedians and saying like, you are not like some Abhishek Upamanyu, or hey, that kind of this thing is, because everybody has their own style, and probably people are a little more generous. I think it would be good. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, that is the big game. So among all this, how has been like family support, and has comedy helped in kind of having a happy family? How much of comedy overlaps into family?
Okay. So, yeah, they are supportive. So, My wife is more towards IT. She loves IT. She loves, seeing growth in her field. At the same time, she gives me my space to do comedy. But how comedy helped in family life? Comedy created more tragedy in family life before helping. Yeah, so they're like, you want to do comedy, do it, but outside home, not inside. Okay, so stick to that. Yeah, so I try to make fun at situations happening at home, which turned against me in so many scenarios. So yeah, we decided after asking multiple apologies, ensured there's peace at home.
Nice, nice, nice. Interesting. Some of the sketches that you are doing, like Bad Guru as well as other things. So, like, what has been the kind of thinking behind it, and how are you trying to frame it, and how has been the reception and things like that?
Yeah. So, during lockdown, there's a stress in everyone's home actually. They have to handle their office work, they have to handle household chores, and
Right.
if you have a kid, you have to handle, parenting activities. So, stress gets piled up. Also, lockdown, no maid allowed to your home. So yeah, 24 hours you're filled with stress. For me to vent out stress, humor is my only option. So I'll pick for a time, 1 hour or 2 hours every week to release one video. Okay, so which gives a little high to us, right? So upload a video, if you get like 15, 20 likes, you're like, okay, someone is watching our stuff. So yeah, so to overcome stress, we stick to two. One is meditation, other one is listening to motivational speeches or do some exercise at home. So I keep hearing a lot of Sadhguru videos. I love Sadhguru and the message he gives. So I keep listening it on a continuous everyday basis. So that's when I decided I want to do something like that. Yeah. At the same time, Sadhguru has huge fan following. So we should be within a limit so that none of their followers should get offended. Yeah. So that's how Sadhguru, I mean, Bad Guru happened. um, yeah. So to vent out stress during lockdown, I keep making one video every week. It could be more related to what sufferings I get. I get to wash utensils, or I get to clean the home during lockdown without any support from house help. What all stress I came across, I want to make it as a content and release as a video. So that's how it began.
Right, right. Brilliant. Mandy, I think that is so reasonable for people like us. It takes so much of effort to put out a video, and if we get those 12, 15 likes, we are so happy with it. So, people who are listening to this podcast and watching this podcast, please remember this. Please be generous with giving likes, because there is so much of frustration. And like Mandy said, mates are not coming home, guys. So, right. So, nice, Mandy. It was lovely talking to you. And if there is anything that you would want to share to people who want to be comedians, budding comedians, or to even regular people who watch comedy, if there is something that you would want to say, please do share with us.
Okay. So one is, success won't come immediately. Number one, don't get into the industry for success or money or fame. Okay. Only if you have genuine interest towards comedy, or if you feel like, just I'm heading towards a stressful life. I want to relax a bit. Yeah. And in that case, get to the stage. Everyday life is throwing a lot of funny things at us. Keep an eye for all funny happening around us. Make a note of it. Find your voice. Follow your own style. Follow your own style. Yeah. So you see Dave Chappelle and you're like, I want to be like Dave Chappelle. It works, not for you. Okay. So find your own style. Yeah. So so for 5 years, I would say, perfect the art. Whatever money comes, let it come. But don't think like, okay, yeah, so everyone are making huge money. No, we are not making huge money. Okay, so 5 years, perfect the craft. Yeah, get confident on stage, get confident handling audience. Yeah. So that's how get into comedy. Don't get into comedy for money. Don't get into comedy for fame. Get into comedy to make people happy, relax yourself a little bit, enjoy the craft. Yeah, so that's pretty much keep watching a lot of comedians just to understand what all styles are. There are so many styles, right? Observational, anecdotal, wordplay, character, act out. So many are there. Find what is your style in the first 1 or 2 years. What is your style? Hit the stage as many times as possible so that it becomes natural when you are on stage. So get to that level. Yeah. Lot of opportunities available for comedian, but
Right.
you have to perfect yourself so that opportunity knocks your door.
Yes. And one final question: is there anything that any way which Toastmasters has helped you, or how did Toastmasters kind of get associated with the whole thing?
Yeah.
I remember particularly we were co-contestants in the Glitterati Championship. You did a perfectly amazing job with your Sapota, IT company. It was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am glad you remember that.
I did.
Yeah, so Toastmaster helped me a lot. That Indiranagar open mic, which I did for the first time, didn't go well. So I started analyzing how in HP in front of 600 audience, I got a great laugh and I was able to perform for 15 minutes. And it turned out to be a great show for me. But at the same time, in next 2 weeks, when I come to open mic here, no one laughed at any of my jokes. It would be a huge embarrassment. So I lost all my confidence of hitting open mics minimum 5-6 months. So that's when I figured out like what all I lack. So which I have to improve so that I can get the same kind of laughs. So when I got introduced to Toastmasters. So Toastmasters was like a perfect platform for you to learn, contribute, and become a perfect professional in communication and getting confidence on stage. So I joined Express to Lead Toastmasters Whitefield as I was staying in Whitefield. Yeah, so there people were very helpful, very supportive, and I slowly figured out what all I lack, how all I can improve that. And people there like Sarika Rangani from my club, she was very helpful. She gave me the first corporate gig. So that's
Super.
how. Yeah. So if you have to, if you have to take yourself as a corporate comedian, then Toastmasters is the right platform because you get network there. If you're funny and if you're consistent, yeah, from that platform you can get a lot of gigs also. So
Nice.
Toastmasters is really good for you to learn, travel in the comedy journey, supportive people. Yeah, so I love Toastmasters for that.
I think you're still continuing with Toastmasters, or?
No, after marriage, no
Oh,
time
okay.
for that. Yeah, I if given an opportunity, sure, I would give it a try. Now timing is not right. Maybe when things are in place, I'll start Toastmasters journey again. I was active Toastmaster for 3 years. After that, after marriage, for 6 months to 1 year, I was active. After that, I had to, concentrate more on family and corporate life. So no time for Toastmasters.
Right, right, right. Wonderful. It was really lovely talking to you, Mandy. It was so nice to know, how you have step by step been growing. I wish you all the success in future, and I hope to see you as, one of the best stand-up comedians in our country as such. So more power to you. I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for spending your time with us, sharing your observations as well as your story and your life with us. This has been really amazing talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kishore. Thank you for inviting me. And this is such a funny name. I'm telling you, comedian in Zoom getting jalebi. A lot of places. Yeah, thank you
Right.
so much for all the best to you.
Thank you.
Hope this show becomes a great success.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Mandy. See you then.
Yeah.
Bye bye.